What's up everybody, I'm Jordan Pomano here with another video. Today I'm going to show you how to load CineStyle from Technicolor onto your Canon camera. So if you shoot on Canon, you're probably aware of the picture profiles that come with it, like landscape, standard, neutral, but if you're shooting video, you'll notice that there's a lack of flat profiles. So if you don't already know what a flat profile is, a flat profile strips away most of the contrast, sharpness, and saturation from the image, which gives you a much more balanced and cinematic look. By doing this, you're also going to have an increased amount of dynamic range. If you're not familiar with dynamic range, this is a sensor's ability to handle exposure in the brightest and darkest parts of an image. For example, here's a shot of my friend Jeff sitting inside a dark area while the left part of the frame is looking outside. You can see that the A7S with a log profile is able to maintain the exposure of both the bright and dark areas. Now we switch to the Canon 5D Mark IV with a neutral profile, and to keep the brighter areas exposed, the darker areas are now underexposed. Now when I expose Jeff, the highlights become blown out. So by loading a flat profile into your camera, it's going to help you at least save a little bit of that information that you would typically lose if you're shooting in neutral or any of the standard profiles. Overall, this is just a much better way of shooting, especially if you want that cinematic look. You want a lot more control over your image whenever you're color grading, color correcting in post. So I'm going to show you today how to load it onto your Canon. Alright, so we're on the Technicolor website here. The link is in the description. This has some information here on what CineStyle does, some photo examples. We're gonna go over here and put our information in, and we're gonna submit that. They're gonna send us an email. Now we've got the Technicolor download. Just click on that link. Download should start automatically. Once that download finishes, go ahead and drag it onto your desktop, open that up, and you'll see your 3 files. Now that you have the profile, if you haven't already, you need to download Canon's utility. Now I believe I'm shooting on the 5D Mark IV here, so I believe I have to have Canon Utility 3. So we're on the utility website here, also in the description. You're gonna click on the camera that you're using, 5D Mark IV for me. And let's go to drivers and downloads. Scroll over to utilities. All right, so it's saying they still don't have an update for Mojave. So if you have Mojave and you haven't downloaded this already, you're probably gonna have to wait until they come out with a new version. If you have something before, or you've already downloaded it in the past, it should still work. I already have EOS utility downloaded, hopefully you do too. So we're just gonna skip that step and go straight to putting it onto the camera. We're gonna grab our camera and we're gonna plug in the USB. Let's plug that in here. All right, now let's start up our utility. So we're gonna go here, we've got EOS utility 3. Once you plug in your camera to the computer, go ahead and turn it on. And once it reads, here we go. Oh, battery's low. We're gonna click on remote shooting. It's gonna open up this menu here. So we move over here, picture style, we're gonna click on that. Now you'll see all of the picture styles that come loaded with the camera. You're gonna notice that the register user defined style is grayed out. So what you have to do is, let's start by clicking on live view shoot. It's gonna open that up. Now we're on video mode right here. Make sure you switch your camera to photo mode. Once you make that switch, you'll see that it pops up, goes to white. Now we're gonna click on register user defined style. Gonna pull up this little area, and we're going to use user def 1. I mean, you can use any of these if you already have a profile that you set up on the first one or something. So we're gonna use that. We're gonna click on this little folder icon, and that's gonna bring up this. We're gonna go to our Technicolor folder, and then we're gonna click on Technicolor CineStyle version 1 PF2. Open that up. Now we're gonna load that right in. CineStyle, boom. All right, that's pretty much it. Now we have it on here. Let's open up live view mode one more time. Let's go over here. Let's throw it back into neutral. We had it before. You can see the contrast already added. That's kind of our standard profile. You can see back there, it's a little underexposed. It's already dark. Now we're gonna switch it to user def 1, which is now CineStyle, and you'll see that flat image come to life. Now that we have CineStyle loaded onto the camera, I'm gonna take it out and do a couple test shots just to give you some examples of what CineStyle looks like. Alright, so I'm shooting off the 5D right now. I have it in neutral profile, which is kind of a standard profile that I think a lot of people use out of the camera. We have the neutral here, and then now we're gonna switch over to the CineStyle. Alright, so now we're using the CineStyle profile. You'll probably notice there's a lot more detail in the blacks that weren't there before. That's just indoor testing. We've got just a light source from the window in front of me. I've got 2 Quasar backlights, like kind of kicking on the back. I don't think it's really... So now that you've seen it indoors, it's a lot more of a controlled environment. We're gonna go outside and really push the limits of this. All right, so we brought our camera outside. We're in neutral profile right now. We're exposing for the brighter areas right now, so you'll notice that all of the shadows are pretty crushed. Now we're gonna bump that f-stop up and expose for that dark shadow. That's gonna leave our highlights pretty blown out. Now let's switch over to CineStyle, and you'll notice that the entire image is a lot more balanced. We have detail in the shadows that we didn't have before, and our highlights are still exposed. Now we're able to maintain the shadows and the highlights all in one image. Let me throw a quick grade over it, and there you go. We have our finished product with CineStyle. Now let's try the same test with a subject. We have me sitting here in the shadows. We're exposed for the brighter areas, so I'm a little underexposed right now. Now I bring our CineStyle back in. You'll notice that the entire image is a lot more balanced. I'm exposed. We still have information in the highlights that when we throw a quick grade over, and everything is still balanced. We have our highlights that are a little hot, but still there's information in there. I'm exposed. Overall, I'm happy with it. Real quick, I'm gonna grade it with the neutral profile on so you can see the differences here. We were able to get a little more information out of the shadows, but not as much as we could have if we had CineStyle on, and you'll notice that the highlights are a lot hotter than they were with the CineStyle. So that's really all it takes. I highly recommend using a flat profile, whether you're shooting on Canon or on a Sony. If you want to get a more cinematic look to your footage, you want more control when you're color grading, I think you're going to be a lot happier with the image that you get, and I think it's really going to boost your production quality overall just by having that control over the image. Thank you so much for watching this video. If it helped you at all or you found value from it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of videos that I'm trying to put out. Hit me up in the comments if there's any videos in particular you want to see. That's it for me on this one. I'll see you guys in the next video.